Here we are at the Indie Megabooth at PAX 2016. Let's go take a look at some games. The first game we took a look at is called Y2K. But the developers call it a postmodern RPG. It kind of reminds me a little bit of almost Earthbound or maybe Persona. The game is set in the late 90s, and the basic plot of the game is the main character is attempting to find his sister, who's disappeared in some strange accident, and you can browse kind of conspiracy forums in the game from the late 90s using a crappy internet connection and a Netscape browser pretty much, and kind of find information about different strange happenings around the city, and you can go check them out, and that's kind of where you get the majority of your quests from. The game plays out in an isometric style view, and you can kind of explore the map, and there's different areas of the map that hurt you, and you can encounter enemies. When you encounter an enemy, you go into a battle mode, and the battle mode is sort of like a cross between Final Fantasy with some quick time elements. For example, there's like this little record player, and the record will go around. If you hit the record at a certain time, if you hit the X button at a certain time, you can perform an attack, and sometimes you can even tap it multiple times to perform multiple attacks. One of the other characters, they have like a keytar type thing that they use as a weapon, which is pretty cool, and so that has a little mini game that goes along with it. All the enemies are very reminiscent of Earthbound style enemies, like there's a stop sign, I think there's a poo thing. If you're a fan of Earthbound or Persona, this game is probably right up your alley. The game will be launching in late 2016 on Wii U, PS Vita, PS4, and Steam. And I did talk to them and ask them what was going on if it was going to release on Xbox, because it seems like they were odd man out. And they said that Xbox hadn't been exactly cooperating with them, but it's possible it will get released on Xbox possibly afterwards. Next game I'm going to talk about is called Basement. Basement is a drug war style game where you control an entire drug empire. You can control the production, the transportation, and sale of all these different types of drugs and stuff like that, and you try and build up your empire. The game plays out a lot like Fallout Shelter, but with kind of some Breaking Bad style stuff to it, and you can basically have your vault dwellers or your drug minions, and you can have them perform different tasks and move around to different rooms of your basement. You can have them go beat up like other gangs and stuff like that to take control of their territory. Basically, the game is about doing all the things your mother told you not to do. The game will be available 6 months from now, but is available right now in early access on Steam, and they're also talking about releasing on console later this year. The last game I'm going to talk about is an adventure game called Secret Legend. It's an isometric game, and it plays out kind of like Zelda. Instead, you play a fox who basically woke up in this dream world and is trying to figure out why he's there. One of the cool elements of the game is as you adventure around and discover the world, there's these signs placed throughout the world, and you can read them, but they're in a language that doesn't make sense. It's not a real language, but you can kind of, apparently, if you see enough of the signs, you can kind of decipher what different things mean. You can go through dungeons and fight bosses and stuff like that, and there's lots to explore. You can find all sorts of items around the world that you can use on different enemies, as well as use to explore new areas. The game has a tilt-shift photography type look to it, and kind of looks a little bit like Monument Valley if you've ever played that before. The game will be available on PC and Mac and is approximately 1 year away from release. I hope you enjoyed our coverage of the Indie Megabooth at PAX 2016. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and keep watching. Thanks.